This is a Canon EOS C400, and with your help, we're gonna put it through its paces. We asked you guys on our Instagram stories what hands-on tests we should do while we have the brand new Canon C400. The three most requested items were triple base ISO, new and improved autofocus, and slow motion. Let's get into it and see how this thing performs. The biggest innovation in this camera is an industry-first triple base ISO at 800, 3200, and 12,800. We tested these ISOs to monitor grain as well as other features in the camera like ND and autofocus. I actually found all three base ISOs had a super similar noise level. I really couldn't tell the difference when I was looking back at the footage. I'm really impressed by the 12,800 ISO. It really establishes the C400 as a versatile low light camera. I also tested the NDs for any light pollution or color shift. Everything looked great even with 6 stops of ND on. While I'm super impressed overall by the low light functionalities, I did find that you start to lose some of that autofocus ability when you're 2 to 3 stops under. This is pretty standard for most modern day cameras. Speaking of autofocus, this thing overall has the best autofocus I've seen out of any Canon camera. The eye lock is sharp and the camera does a great job of smoothly and pleasantly hitting those focus marks without going crazy or searching. It was able to catch the back of people's heads when they were walking away from camera. It was able to catch faces through windows and through mirrors. I was really impressed in situations where faces were temporarily obstructed. The camera was really predictive of where the face was going to be next and gave you really smooth focus to that next point. We'll definitely need to do a little bit more testing on animals, but bird spotters, be warned, we did have a hard time catching focus on these parrots in our parking lot. I was super impressed by its object auto detection. It did a great job following objects in motion and keeping the rack super smooth without having to tell it anything. Canon really stepped it up though, and I'm waiting for this autofocus to make it into every other camera in the EOS cinema line. Let's talk about slow motion. When we're shooting 6K RAW, we're gonna get 60 frames per second. I hardly ever find myself going past 120 frames per second, so having that option at 4K is great. There is 180 at 2K, which I actually don't hate. It's just nice to have in case you ever need it. You can check out our full deep dive on the Canon C400 alongside tons of other articles with great filmmaking information at provideocoalition.com. Check it out. But before you go, our most requested test was the drop test. So without further ado, here goes nothing.